Hello, everyone, and welcome to ForexGPT. This is Stephen Itzakis with Forex-GPT.ai. And today we're going to be going through these tools that you see here within the ForexGPT MCP server. We're going to connect using the ForexGPT connector. This is using the mcp.forex-gpt.ai/MCP URL. Here we're attaching it to this chat in developer mode. So we connected, we authenticated, and now we are invoking the connector. You can see the tool is being called and we're getting the watch list from the server that we have here. Those are the assets that are in the watch list. And you can even add and remove assets through ChatGPT with a simple prompt. So we're going to be demonstrating some of these tools. I've sped up the video a little bit. I just removed the NASDAQ 100 from the watch list, as you can see there. And so we're going to be going through this really fast. Again, I sped up the video, otherwise this would be twice as long. So we're going to go through some of the tools here. Like I just checked the token balance on my account, my premium tokens and daily free tokens. And that's another thing you can do just using a simple prompt with the MCP connector enabled. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run through all the available tools so you can see how these tools work in an MCP connected environment. And it's really cool because this is like the next generation of using AI within a ChatGPT interface. First, we had the ForexGPT plugin, then we had the ForexGPT GPT, which is still live. And now we have the ForexGPT connector, which again requires developer mode. So the first thing we're doing is we're checking the health status. Health is one of the tools available in the MCP server. It just lets you see, if everything is working. So once we do that, now we're going to go through the tools one by one and check how they work. You'll notice that you'll have to approve each tool. You can set it to always approve, or you could set it to where you approve it each time. And you can expand the little action so that you can see the parameters that are being sent to the server as well as the response. And sometimes the response can be quite long, such as in this case, we're analyzing the asset. And if we expand that, we can see the long response from the AI model, including all the chart data. So next we're going to do the analyze watch list. We just confirmed that. So we're sending those parameters. So now we're analyzing every asset on the watch list. And there were, over 6 or 7 assets on there, maybe even more, I can't recall. But we're analyzing all of those assets using AI in real time, pulling chart data from the broker API, sending it to the model, formatting it, getting the parameters, getting all the indicators, the moving averages, the Donchian channels, the sentiment score. So it takes a while, it can take up to a minute, but here we see the response just came through. So that was definitely under a minute. But that's going to be as fast as you can analyze, that many assets in real time. And it's quite a long list of data here between all the candlestick and AI model responses. You could see I'm scrolling for quite a while. Now, of course, as a user, you're not going to want to read through that long response, but you can have ChatGPT or Claude format that in a user interface, for example, and we'll see that later. So again, we're just running some of the additional tools here. The token balance tool is being called again, and there was another one being called right before that. And I remember one of these failed. I think it was this one with the time frames analysis. So this analyzes multiple time frames per asset, and for some reason there was just a timeout in that tool. So I need to look at that. But the analyze asset tool works. The analyze time frame one, I remember this failed because of whatever timeout. And so sometimes the model might use the wrong parameters too. So the model will sometimes attempt to run it again. Uh, so you want to be mindful of that in case you want to cancel it, or in case, you don't want to consume more tokens. You want to always, tell the model what you want it to do and how many tokens you plan on spending, so it doesn't just sit there and, keep running analysis. But generally, it's pretty good at doing that, but just something to be mindful of, because sometimes it might run it a second time in case it didn't like the response. So analyze timeframes. I remember again, this action had failed for whatever reason. It timed out. Um, and then we called the economic events tool. So this is pulling some economic calendar events, and you can see them right there. Different announcements that are coming up, like jobless claims. Um, the next is the get chart data. So this is just pulling like candlestick data for the Euro USD. We can see that here in the response, just if you scroll through that. Next is the get live heat map. I can't remember if this failed the first time around or if it worked. Oh yeah, it worked. Okay, so there we have the heat map score for some of those assets. And now we're doing a search query just for some of the related pairs. And it's giving us some of the related pairs with the US dollar and the euro, the US dollar or the euro. And now we're fetching S&P 500. I believe this is analysis. So this is similar to, the get analysis tool. Um, so that's running right now on the SPX 500, which is the S&P 500 CFD. And there you have the response at the end under the request. And there you can see that, which includes all the chart data. Next is the scan market. So this is the market scanner tool. So it's going to look for H1 data. For some reason, some parameters weren't correct with that. So we're going to run that again manually. I don't like the arguments it was using. Sometimes the model isn't exactly sure how to use the tool, so it might have to go back and read it again, or you might have to nudge it in case it uses the wrong parameters. But that's the idea with MCP. It's designed to make it easier for the model to use the endpoints available from your API or from your server. And that's kind of why it was designed by Anthropic. Even though we're using OpenAI now, this has become a bit of an industry standard. So we're checking again the health of the server, and that came back okay. And now I think it's just going to do a recap of uh, all the tools that it went over. So again, the health status, we checked that a few times. And now it's going to list some of the other stuff: that get token balances, the analyze asset, the analyze watch list, the timeframes failed, the economic events succeeded, as well as, oh, here it's actually listing the results. So if you were a trader using some of these tools, you would want it to list the results in this type of format, which is easier to read instead of that long technical JSON response. But that response is there too if you want to like QC it. So here we have some of the upcoming calendar events, such as retail sales later this week on Tuesday, the cash rate from New Zealand, jobless claims, and so on and so forth. So get chart data, get live heat map, the search function, the fetch function, the scan market failed on the first attempt, get spreads, add to watch list, remove from watch list. And now I think I'm just going to run that market scan again manually. And I believe this time it succeeded. So we can see we called the tool, and there are the results. We could scan through the results. So we have Ethereum and Litecoin strong bearish with the recent crypto pullback, and natural gas and dollar yen on the bullish side. So there you have it, folks. We pretty much went through all of these tools. So now the next prompt that I gave it, just to kind of give an example on how people could actually use this is, put together sort of a trading plan going into the week ahead based on all these findings to make it more sort of, usable. So now it's designing that weekly trading plan. And again, this is just for research purposes. It's not investment advice or any trading recommendations, but you can see the anchor points as far as the calendar themes, things that are coming up as far as economic calendar events. That's the first inference. Secondly, you have from the scan, some of the results. We had the, strong bearish on Bitcoin, and some of these other dollar yen pairs had a lot of strength. So then, or actually it was yen weakness. And then, it's kind of tying some of these events to specific assets. Again, crypto downside, then we had the natural gas that was bullish. And it's basically just putting together a playbook of, what timeframes and assets you might be looking at, and with the upcoming calendar events as well, and how that might come into play. Talks about some uh, risk reward type of events and setups, and how these tools could potentially be used, going into that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and visit forex-gpt.ai to learn more about the new MCP server and how you can use it in your workflow. Thank you so much for watching.